I can still hear my father's voice from 3 hours ago. You're not coming, Maya. You are too filthy to meet your sister's rich in-laws, and that's final. If you've ever been the family embarrassment, the one they hide at holidays, the one whose achievements get footnoted while everyone else's get framed, you know that coldness. It's not anger. Anger would mean you mattered enough to fight with. This was something else. Dismissal. Like I was a typo in the family draft they kept forgetting to delete. I wasn't supposed to be here tonight. Not at my own sister's engagement party. Not at the New Year's Eve celebration that would welcome her into the kind of wealth our parents had spent 30 years pretending we already had. And definitely not at the Ashford Grand, the jewel of Austin's luxury resort scene, where people like me, awkward, unglamorous, too loud in the wrong moments and too quiet in the right ones, simply didn't belong. At least that's what they told me, but here's the thing about being invisible. Sometimes you see things other people miss, and sometimes, while everyone's looking past you, you build something they'll never expect. Let me back up. My name is Maya Carter, and I've been the wrong daughter my entire life. Not in the dramatic, disowned and cast out way. Worse, in the constant low-grade disappointment way. The kind where your mother introduces your sister first at every gathering, and then adds, "And this is Maya," like an afterthought, like a technical necessity. Yes, we have 2 children. Why do you ask? Serena, my older sister by 3 years, has always been the shining one. Effortlessly beautiful in that catalog-perfect way, with the kind of social polish that makes strangers trust her immediately. She works in PR for a lifestyle brand you've definitely heard of, dates men with hyphenated last names, and has never, not once in her life, spilled wine on herself at a dinner party. I, Nons, on the other hand, am a data true analyst. I work with spreadsheets and risk models and investment forecasts, usually from my apartment in South Austin, usually in sweatpants, often forgetting to eat lunch until 4 p.m. I'm good at what I do, really good, but it's not the kind of work that photographs well. It's not the kind of career that makes your parents' friends say, "Oh, how wonderful," at brunch. It's invisible work, just like me. For years, I told myself it didn't bother me, that I had made peace with being the practical one, the boring one, the daughter they didn't brag about. I had my own life, my own apartment, my own career. I didn't need their validation. But then Serena met Julian Ashford. Julian is everything my parents had dreamed of for their golden child. Wealthy, handsome, old money polished, heir to the Ashford hospitality empire. 3 luxury resorts across Texas, 2 in Colorado, partnerships with brands that don't advertise because they don't need to. The kind of wealth that whispers instead of shouts. They got engaged in October, ring presented on a yacht in the hill country, photographer conveniently present, Instagram engagement announcement with 47,000 likes in the first hour. My mother cried. My father opened a bottle of scotch he'd been saving for something like this. I sent a congratulations text. Serena hearted it without replying. That was fine. I was used to it. What I wasn't used to was the family meeting 2 weeks later. My mother called it a small gathering to discuss the engagement timeline. What it actually was, a tactical briefing on how not to embarrass the family in front of the Ashfords. We sat in my parents' dining room, the one they never use except for occasions that require performance, and my mother poured tea no one wanted while my father cleared his throat like he was about to deliver a eulogy. "The New Year's Eve party," he began, "is not just a celebration. It's an introduction. The Ashfords are hosting at their flagship resort, and we need to make the right impression." Serena smiled, radiant even in afternoon light. "Julian's parents are so excited to meet everyone." "Which is why," my father continued, eyes sliding toward me with something that looked almost like pity, "we need to be very careful about presentation." I remember setting my teacup down slowly. Presentation. "Maya," my mother's voice, gentle and sharp at once, the way you'd talk to a dog you're trying not to spook. "You know we love you, but this is delicate. The Ashfords move in very specific circles, very polished circles, and you—" "I what?" "You're not always comfortable in formal settings," Serena offered, her tone so kind it stung worse than cruelty. "Remember Aunt Linda's wedding, when you talked about tax brackets during cocktail hour. Someone asked me what I did for a living. You made a venture capitalist cry, Maya. My father leaned forward. The point is, this party is critical. Julian's family is old. Money. Real money. They value elegance, discretion, social grace. And frankly, he paused, choosing his words like diffusing a bomb. You tend to be a bit unpolished, a bit too honest, a bit filthy, my mother finished softly. Not in hygiene, darling. In presence. You don't fit into spaces like that, and we can't risk you saying the wrong thing, or dressing inappropriately, or existing. I heard my own voice, flat and distant. Silence. Then Serena reached across the table, her engagement ring catching light like a small, beautiful thread. Maya, it's one night. And honestly, you'd probably be miserable anyway. It's going to be so stuffy and boring. You'd hate it. She said it like a kindness, like she was protecting me. And maybe part of her believed that. I didn't fight. I didn't argue. I nodded, said I understood, and left before dessert. On the drive home, I cried exactly once. A single, ugly sob that came out of nowhere at a red light on Lamar. Then I wiped my face, turned up the music, and decided something I hadn't quite articulated yet. I decided I was done, begging to be seen. What my family didn't know, what they'd never bothered to ask, was that I had been working for months on a project that would redefine luxury resort profitability models across the Southwest for the Ashford family. It started in June. I got an encrypted email from a consulting firm I'd worked with before, asking if I'd be interested in a discrete high-stakes financial analysis project for a hospitality client. The pay was extraordinary. The NDA was airtight. The work was exactly the kind of challenge I live for, taking years of messy, unoptimized financial data and turning it into a roadmap for sustainable growth. The client? Ashford Hospitality Group, specifically Richard and Diana Ashford, Julian's parents. They were brilliant operators who'd built an empire on instinct and taste, but they'd hit a ceiling. Rising operational costs, shifting luxury travel trends, investors getting nervous. They needed someone who could see the patterns they couldn't, who could model scenarios and stress test strategies without the emotional attachment that comes from legacy. They needed someone invisible, someone who worked in the shadows and let the results speak. They needed me. For 6 months, I worked directly with their CFO and their executive team, building models, running simulations, identifying inefficiencies most consultants would have missed. I restructured their procurement, optimized their staffing models, renegotiated 3 supplier contracts, and identified a revenue stream in luxury event partnerships they'd been leaving on the table. By November, I'd helped protect $4.2 million in annual costs and projected a 19% increase in net profitability over the next 2 years. They were thrilled. The CFO called me the best investment we've made in a decade. Richard Ashford himself sent me a handwritten note thanking me for my invaluable insight and integrity. And then, 3 weeks ago, they asked if they could feature my work in their annual investor briefing. With my permission, they wanted to include a photo and a brief bio in the presentation materials. Nothing public, just internal recognition for the consultants who'd made the year's biggest impact. I said yes. I even sent them a professional headshot. Hair done, blazer pressed, the version of myself I saved for LinkedIn. That photo got printed, framed, and hung in the executive wing of the Ashford Grand Resort, alongside the other key players in the company's success story. Right above the plaque that read, Maya Carter, Financial Strategy Consultant, Operational Excellence Award. My family had no idea. Serena had been dating Julian for 4 months before I even got the Ashford contract, and when she got engaged and started gushing about his amazing family and their incredible business, I stayed quiet. I didn't mention that I'd been in their quarterly earnings calls, that I had Richard Ashford's direct cell number, that Diana had once told me I reminded her of her younger self, brilliant and underestimated. I didn't say anything because I'd learned a long time ago that my family didn't actually want to know who I was. They wanted me to be smaller, quieter, less. So I let them believe I was. The days leading up to New Year's Eve were strange. Serena texted me outfit photos, 12 different dresses, each more stunning than the last. My mother called twice to remind me not to feel bad about missing the party, as if I were a child being excluded from recess. My father didn't call at all. I told myself I was fine. I had plans: a quiet night in, Chinese takeout, a murder mystery podcast I'd been binge listening to. No awkward small talk, no pitying glances, no standing in the corner while my sister sparkled. But on the afternoon of December 31st, I got a text from an unknown number. "Maya, this is Diana, Ashford. I know this is last minute, but we're hosting a small family celebration tonight at the Grand, and I'd love for you to join us if you're available. You've been such a crucial part of our success this year, and it would mean a lot to have you there. No pressure. I know it's New Year's Eve, but if you're free, we'd be honored. Diana." I stared at my phone for a full minute. Then I looked at my calendar, at the note I'd written weeks ago, back when I still thought I'd be invited. Serena's engagement party, Ashford Grand, 8 p.m. The same party, the same night. Diana didn't know. She had no idea that the fiancé her son was bringing home was my sister, that the family celebrating tonight included the people who'd told me I was too filthy to attend. For a long moment, I considered saying no, avoiding the whole mess, staying invisible. But then I thought about the last 6 months, about the work I'd done, about the photo hanging in their executive wing, proof that I was more than the afterthought my family saw. And I thought, what if I just showed up? Not to cause a scene, not to humiliate anyone, just to exist in the space I'd earned. I texted back, "I'd be honored. Thank you, Diana. See you tonight." Then I opened my closet and pulled out the one good dress I owned, a deep emerald silk sheath I'd bought on sale 2 years ago and never worn. I showered, dried my hair until it fell smooth and shining, did my makeup with the kind of care I usually reserve for job interviews. When I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. I looked like someone who belonged. The Ashford Grand at night is the kind of beautiful that makes you hold your breath, all warm light and limestone elegance, sprawling across a hill overlooking the city, with ivy climbing the walls and soft piano music drifting through open doors. Valets in crisp uniforms, women in gowns that cost more than my rent, men in tailored tuxedos, laughing in clusters with champagne, flutes. I arrived at 8:15, fashionably late, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The valet took my keys without a second glance. I walked through the grand entrance, past the marble floors and the towering floral arrangements and the gold-trimmed mirrors, and into the ballroom where the party was already in full swing. And that's when I saw them. My family, Serena, radiant in a white silk gown, her arm looped through Julian's. My mother, in pearls and a champagne dress, smiling at someone important. My father, in his best suit, shaking hands like he'd been born to this. They didn't see me. Not yet. I stayed near the entrance, half hidden behind a marble column, watching, trying to decide what to do next. And then I heard her. "Maya," Diana Ashford's voice, clear and warm, cutting across the ballroom. I turned. She was walking toward me, elegant in a navy gown, silver hair swept into a chignon, and her face lit up with genuine delight. Behind her, Richard followed, smiling. "You made it." Diana reached me and took both my hands, squeezing them like we were old friends. "I'm so glad. Come, let me introduce you to everyone. Diana, But she was already guiding me forward into the heart of the party, her hand on my elbow. And that's when the room shifted. Heads turned. Conversations paused. My mother saw me first. Her smile froze, confusion flickering across her face. Then my father. His expression hardened. Serena looked up from her champagne, saw me standing next to Diana Ashford, and went pale. Julian blinked. "Maya?" "You know each other?" Diana asked, surprised. "She's—" Serena's voice came out thin. "She's my sister." A beat of silence. Diana's face transformed. Shock, then understanding, then something almost like amusement. "Your sister? Maya Carter is your sister?" "I—" Serena looked at me, then at Diana, then at Julian, lost. Yes? Richard Ashford stepped forward, his eyes moving between me and my family with dawning recognition. Wait, your sister is the Maya Carter? Our Maya Carter? What? My father's voice, sharp and confused. Diana turned to him, still holding my arm, her tone polite, but pointed. Your daughter has been working with us for the past 6 months. She's the financial strategist who restructured our entire operational model. She saved us millions. My mother's mouth opened, closed. We have her photo in the executive wing, Richard added, his voice carrying across the sudden quiet. We were just talking about her yesterday. How invaluable she's been. Serena stared at me. You work for Julian's family. I consult for them, I said quietly. Have been since June. And you didn't tell us? I met her eyes. You didn't ask. Silence again. Thicker this time. My father looked like he'd been slapped. My mother's face had gone a strange frozen white. Diana glanced between us, understanding settling into her features. I take it this is a surprise? They told me not to come tonight, I said, my voice steady, calm. They said I was too awkward, too unpolished, that I'd embarrass them in front of you. Julian's face went carefully blank. Richard Ashford's eyebrows rose. They said what? They were protecting the family, I continued, looking at my parents, at Serena, at the people who'd spent 30 years teaching me I wasn't enough. They thought I'd ruin everything. Diana's hand tightened on my arm, not in pity, in solidarity. Well, she said, her voice carrying the kind of authority that comes from a lifetime of running empires. I'm very glad you didn't listen to them. She turned to the room, to the guests who'd been watching, to the family who'd been pretending, and raised her glass. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Maya Carter, the woman who helped save our company this year, one of the sharpest minds I've had the privilege of working with. She looked at me, her eyes kind and fierce, and apparently the sister we didn't know we were gaining. The room erupted in applause. Not polite applause, real applause. And I stood there, in my emerald dress, in the room I'd been told I'd ruin, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Seen. The rest of the night blurred. People I'd never met came up to congratulate me. Julian's business partners wanted to talk models and forecasts. Diana introduced me to investors, to board members, to people who mattered. My family stood frozen near the dessert table. Serena tried to approach me once, her face stricken, but I wasn't ready. Not yet. My father started to speak. Maya, we didn't know. No, I said quietly. You didn't, because you never asked. And I walked away, not in anger, not in cruelty, just away. At midnight, I stood on the resort's terrace, watching fireworks bloom over the Austin skyline. The air was cool, the champagne warm in my hand, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I was exactly where I was, supposed to be. Diana found me there just as the last firework faded. You okay? She asked. I nodded. Yeah, I think I am. She smiled. For what it's worth, I'm sorry they made you feel that way. You're extraordinary, Maya, and anyone who can't see that is a fool. I looked at her, this woman who'd seen my value when my own family couldn't, and I felt something crack open in my chest. Thank you, I whispered. She squeezed my shoulder. Happy New Year, Maya. Happy New Year. I didn't stay for the whole party. Around 1 a.m., I slipped out, keys retrieved, coat wrapped tight, and drove home through empty streets still glittering with confetti. When I got to my apartment, I poured myself a glass of wine, sat by the window, and cried. Not sad tears, not angry tears. Relief, because I'd spent 30 years trying to be someone my family could love, someone they could be proud of, someone who fit. And tonight, in the room they'd tried to keep me out of, I realized something. I didn't need to fit. I just needed to be myself. And the people who mattered, they'd see me. The rest could stay blind. 3 days later, Serena called. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Maya. Her voice was small, shaken. Can we talk? I thought about saying no, about protecting myself the way I always had. But instead I said, okay. We met at a coffee shop in East Austin, neutral ground. She looked tired, beautiful, still, but tired. I'm sorry, she said, before I even sat down. I'm so, so sorry. I didn't respond, just waited. I didn't know, she continued, her voice breaking. I didn't know what you were doing, what you'd accomplished, and I should have. I should have asked. I should have. She stopped, swallowed. I should have seen you. I felt my throat tighten. I spent my whole life being the favorite, Serena whispered, and I never questioned it. I never thought about what that meant for you. I just took it, like it was mine by right. She looked up, tears in her eyes. I'm ashamed, Maya, of how I treated you, of how we all treated you. I wanted to stay angry, to hold on to the hurt like armor, but I also wanted to be free. I don't need you to be ashamed, I said quietly. I just need you to see me now. She nodded, tears spilling over. I do. I see you, and you're incredible. We sat there for a long time, not saying much, just sitting. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, but it was a beginning. My parents took longer. My father sent an email 2 weeks later, stiff, formal, the kind of apology that came from obligation more than understanding. I didn't respond. My mother called, crying, a month after that. We talked for an hour. She said all the right things. I believe some of them. It's complicated. Families are. But I'm done shrinking. Done apologizing for taking up space. I'm done being the wrong daughter. Julian and Serena got married in June. A small ceremony this time. Intimate. Real. I was invited. I went. Not because they deserved it, but because I did. Diana Ashford hugged me at the reception. You look happy, she said. I am, I realized. I really am. If you've ever been the family scapegoat, the one they're embarrassed by, the one who doesn't fit the mold, I want you to know something. Your worth is not measured by their ability to see it. You are not too much or too little or too anything. You are enough, exactly as you are. And the people who matter, they'll find you. They'll see you. They'll celebrate you. Not in spite of who you are, but because of it. It's been a year now since that New Year's Eve. I still work with the Ashfords. I still live in my South Austin apartment. I still forget to eat lunch. But I also know something I didn't before. I don't need to be invited to the table to have value. Sometimes you build your own table. And when you do, the right people will find their way there. My revenge wasn't loud. It wasn't cruel. It was just the quiet truth of my worth, revealed in the very room they tried to lock me out of. And that, I've learned, is the most powerful revenge of all. The kind that doesn't destroy. The kind that heals. The kind that sets you free.